All right, so this is the third week of Grantwriting Mastery for August cohort. And as usual, we'll be providing support as you've been implementing writing sections of the proposal. So KG, I reviewed, you saw my comments on your essay yesterday.
I've not even been home. I just opened it. I just came in.
All right. So I think the final comment I made was that, okay, let's talk about it during the live session. So I saw that for the project design, maybe I may need to project it or something. Let me just get back to my email.
Okay.
I just needed you to talk about it, like share what your ideas are and your thoughts for the project so that I can better guide you. Because I saw that you were focused more on infrastructure, which was a library that you wanted to furnish. So I needed you to provide more clarity.
Okay. So the infrastructure currently from friends and family were able to fund it to raise it up, roof it, floor
Okay.
it, and also fix windows and doors. So the furnishing is trying to get the shelves and also get it staffed, like employ someone to be there, run it as it should. However, there's also a component of it, which is the fact that the children cannot just learn to read from space, since
Yeah,
their school
you need
teachers are
support.
not helping. Their school teachers just speak to the board. So this is one of it that is ongoing. We have weekly classes, after school program with the children. So there is one volunteer who comes around 4 times in a week and after school spends time with the children. So we're teaching the basics of literacy. For those who know the letter sounds, what we're doing with them is helping them to blend, helping them to read with confidence. And then the older ones, we're doing things like helping with comprehension. So that's
Okay.
one aspect of the project that we hope will continue, because that's our main focus in Clear It. Literacy is our main focus. Yes.
And so it's focused on primary, is it only primary school, or is there a specific age range for the children you want to target?
We actually are targeting all the school age.
Primary
So
and secondary
primary
school.
and secondary, yes, because those are the ones that come to us. And
All right.
we also have children in our program, and those are the ones that even endear my heart the most, those who are out of school. So those who are out of school also come because they can't afford to go to any school. So they come here, and we have testimonies from one or two of them that can now read as a result of just coming to us.
Okay. So for project, did you watch the second video on the playlist?
Yes, I did, like
Okay.
twice or 3 times.
All right. Twice or 3 times. So clearly you need to have the project objective defined. You need to clearly show what the outcome would be and then plot out your activities. So the way to approach your project activities, like, let me just project my screen so we're on the same page. So this section, project activities.
Yes.
So we need to see your objective clearly stated. Now you're saying that the Jebumango Reads project aims to help the Jebumango children with supplementary programs, which that's not an objective. So it's just like you have summarized it. Yes, we know that it's going to help, but that's not the way the project objective should be framed. Are you strengthening literacy skills of children between X and Y age in schools in so community by 2025 or 2024? So you can open this section by saying that the specific objective of the Jebumango Read project is to enhance the literacy skills of children in school, children in so community. Then you go for that to say, to contribute to this objective, the project would, or our organization, what's the name? It's Clear Aid Foundation, right?
Yes.
So contribute to this objective, Clear Aid Foundation would focus on strengthening social infrastructure, building the capacity of volunteers and literary coaches, or however you have termed them to be, and also provide a conducive environment for children to access mentorship, learning materials, I'm just blabbing, don't worry, peer-to-peer
Yeah, I'm picking
learning
it.
in order to enhance their reading skills, which would in the long term contribute to the academic performance and school completion rate. You have summarized it, and then you break down. Your project has one objective. Sometimes your project can have two specific objectives. So you now begin to break down the activity. So to contribute to this objective, or in order for us to achieve this objective, our organization would implement the following activities. Bullet point 1, or Roman figure 1, you put your activity. Maybe establish or furnish library with resources. Semicolon, then you explain what the activity is. You go down to say, identify and build the capacity of whoever, what's the name or the phrase that you want to call the coaches that will be supporting the children in the learning center. Semicolon, you explain. Clear Aid Foundation over the years have been able to build a community of volunteers. For this project, we intend to further enhance their capacity
in one place.
so and so thing in order for them to, sorry about that, in order for them to support the children that the project will target. Activity 3, you put the header. What's that activity? Semicolon, you explain. That's how to approach this section. Then I know that for this particular template, is a bit confusing because there's a section that talks about project activities. Then there's another section talking about design and methods. And it can be confusing. Yes. So this is how you approach the program methods and design. Like I've always said, behind every intervention, there is a model. There is a framework behind it. And then this framework, look at it like the pillars upon which that intervention is sitting on. Like I used in our last meeting, I was using Grantwriting Mastery as an illustration to say Grantwriting Mastery was a project. The method behind what we're doing is that you have access to training, or access to resources, or access to learning materials. Then there's a second component, which is the proposal development and review. And then the third component, which is more relevant for the September cohort, which we're introducing, is the funder engagement. So beyond the objective that I would have stated in the previous section to say that we're enhancing the fundraising capabilities of nonprofit founders in order for them to attract resources, to implement interventions across Africa. That's our objective. Our activities may be a kickoff meeting, and then would provide access to learning materials, training workshops, sample funded proposals. The third one may be to facilitate weekly sessions with expert coaches, blah, 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 blah. But there's a method. There is an architecture. So when you see a house, there's a design behind what you're seeing. So what is that architecture, that framework underneath your project, upon which that your solution is sitting on? So for Grantwriting Mastery is access to learning resources, or access to training, proposal development and review, funder engagement. It's 3 components. So for you, is it a strengthened social infrastructure? 2, it might be, if for instance, you are doing this in collaboration with the school teachers. for instance, you're doing it in collaboration with the school teachers, with the government school teachers, you can say stakeholder synergy or stakeholder collaboration. And then a third component, maybe it's a sustainable engagement. For instance, if you're going to be supporting the children from primary 1 till when they finish secondary school, the facility is there, the support is there. So that is the architecture behind, or the framework behind the project. Then you will explain it. So that's the difference. And I intentionally chose this template because of how it's in between complexity and simplicity. It's simple and complex at the same time. And it will help you approach any other template that you will find by the time you're applying for grants. Because if you have done the hard work of brainstorming to think through how to respond to this section for project activities, and then talking about program methods and design. So even if you see the guideline, the funder said a description of how the program is expected to work to solve the stated problem and achieve the goal. Why for this other objective, section, it says describe the program activities and how they will help achieve the objectives. So if you go ahead to only explain activities and we don't know the objective that this activity will contribute to, there's going to be a problem. So for whatever panel, whoever sits on the panel that will review your proposal needs to understand what the objectives are, first of all, so that they can evaluate your activities to know if it will really help you achieve the objective, and they can say, okay, yes, this solution looks feasible. So open the conversation with telling us straight away what the objective has to be very detailed, showing us, you can go out, let it be smart. You know, if you look at the training video too, this case study we use, you could see the target number of people who are going to reach in that specific time frame. You know when it's going to end. Is it by December 2025? Is it by January 2026? You know the look. If we read your objective, we should be able to know what exactly you are doing without guessing, without any assumption or gray areas. So by here, you telling us that you are going to help Jebu Miango, sorry about the pronunciation, I don't know how to pronounce,
no, it's okay,
with supplementary after-school programs, which aims at helping to improving their reading skill and offer library services to help bridge the gap. While I'm able to know that, okay, this is what you're trying to do, I don't even know when this solution is going to be delivered. I can't tell the when, whether it has happened or it's going to happen in the next 10 years, I don't know. And then I don't even know the scale or the scope to say we're going to support 500 children. So bring in that element there and then outline your activities. I know that you were trying to, honestly, this information is insufficient. You know, like it's not enough. So why did I say it's not enough? Because there are certain application forms that will expect you to give very detailed information, while there are some forms that expect you to just go straight to the point without explaining any. Just tell me what you want to do in 100 words. So I'm light shining to target 500 words so that when you need to summarize, you summarize. When you need to go further to provide more information, you're not stranded with content. So open the paragraph with the objective. The Jebu Miango Reads project aims to enhance the reading or literacy capacity of young children between the age of this and this in school by so in so place. To contribute or to achieve this objective, Clear Aid Foundation seeks to execute 5 or 4 key activities highlighted below. 1, what's the first activity? Core activity. Put it like I explained, your semicolon, explain it. So target to write about 400 to 500 words for this section, if possible.
Okay.
Then here, the funder wants to know the method. Everything you're doing has a methodology, whether you know it or not, there's a method. So it's just for you to sit and observe and evaluate your organization's intervention to pull out the method behind it. Like I have explained with Grantwriting Mastery. Maybe any other coach will just say, oh, we're doing training, this and that, and don't even understand what is the model behind what you are doing. How does the solution work? And based on my experience working with clients in the last 3 years, aside from being an employee or being an officer in an organization, I've come to understand that there are 3 key gaps, that limits the capacity of nonprofit leaders to access funding. So there's a knowledge gap. There is also a practice gap, because there are people who have the knowledge of writing proposals. Well, yeah, write it now. They can explain everything about it, but write it, they cannot. So there's a practitioner gap, being able to translate learning into developing the document. I found that gap. And there's a third gap, which is very critical, which is how to even engage with funders, because they don't understand the funding process, how to identify funding opportunities, and then putting in strong applications, bringing the idea, putting the documents together in the way that the funder wants to assess your document, which is the funder engagement. And so the solution I'm providing, this is how it works: access to learning materials, proposal development or review, funder engagement. So beyond all the things I've listed that these are the activities, this is the method. And this is how it will work to build the capacity of nonprofit leaders to be able to engage in fundraising and access grant funding for their projects. So that's the mindset to approach these 2 sections of the proposal. There are some templates you will see is just one, go straight to the point. Some you will feel as if they're asking you the same question over and over again. They want to cross-reference the content from all of this section to see that you really know what you're talking about. So by the time you discuss something different here and they go to the next section, it does not align, then the proposal has failed already. So that's how to approach that. I hope it helped.
Yes, very helpful.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So I would expect to see a more robust document by my next review by Friday.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. You all came in a little bit late, but no worries. So for our review for the week, last week, week 2, we're supposed to have completed the section on project design. And then you will project design module for the training, which are 2 training videos for week 2, 2A and 2B. You're supposed to complete those 2 training videos and then work on 2 specific sections of your document, which are the project activity section and then the project methods and design section. But still, a few of you have not been able to complete that. And I want us to talk about it. I don't want to hear I'm busy with plenty work, because if you're looking for grant funding, you must make out time to identify the funding opportunities and submit you must submit within a specific time frame. So when the funder says the deadline is 31st of August, you can't be submitting 1st of September. It's gone and it's gone. You've lost out of that opportunity. So we must be able to find a way to tweak our daily calendar or itinerary to provide room for working on our project proposals. Because at the end of the program, which is September 2nd, you're going to identify funding opportunities, apply for, and send me an evidence that you've actually applied for that opportunity. So what is the challenge? Beyond I don't have time, having gone through the training videos and the documents, is there a technical challenge that you're experiencing, just like KG, and we're able to provide clarity or direction on how to approach those sections? Are you having those technical challenges so that we can take a look at your project idea and then help you figure how to approach these sections?
Hi, Coach.
Hello.
Sorry. So I think my issue was
I wouldn't mind if you could still describe the difference between those two sections, because I was having, as you said, it's almost like you're asking the same question. So I didn't quite get that. And
Okay.
so I was having issues
With it.
responding.
Okay. You want me to project your proposal?
Okay. Yeah. I think someone else is also asking. I thought you wanted to find out from everyone before you
Okay, so
before
we
you
could
start
do that.
projecting.
We could do that. So Kofi, your hand is up.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, and sorry for logging in late. I was
All right.
caught up in a little bit of traffic and just.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I think I was a bit not so clear. I wouldn't want to use the word confused, but I was a bit not so clear with some parts. So it's actually limited my target that I set for myself on this assignment here for this week. I was actually trying to see how best I can push myself over the limit to catch up. But then I was a bit, caught on the program method and design, right? Because I saw the comments that you made, right? And I was so much expecting something like that, because I realized that I was really not too clear where I've put the issues are, where they're supposed to be. In the sense that when I read the short brief on each header, I was trying to make sense of it. So when they say program methods and design, and they say a description of how the program is expected to work to solve the stated problem and achieve the goal, right? In my head, I was like, is it the case that I need to present the business model or the program model, and as to how the program is expected to be run?
Okay. So
let
me project. Go ahead while I project.
Okay, then when you
we need to take a look at the form.
And when you take the other part, which you also passed comment on, so I think I realized that later you saw that I have put my objectives not where they were supposed to be. Yeah. So that was what I was really struggling with, because then here too it said describe the program activities and how they will help achieve the objective. Mm-hmm. So I thought I was rather here require not to only just list the activities, but link them to the specific objective project. Yeah. And I don't know, I'm sure your comment tells me that I didn't really do a good job, but then
you did a good job, just that there's room for it to be better.
Yeah, I maybe I didn't really got into an A class today. I mean, I couldn't only lose 20 marks. Maybe I did only better. So
you lost $20,000.
Yeah, kind of. I'm just saying that. So that was a bit of a challenge that I was having, and I didn't want to really carry on to just
continue writing. Yeah.
Continue just writing, and because I wasn't so much clear in my mind whether I was really doing the right thing. So I decided to just stop where I got to, because I realized the more I do and I come to the other pages, I get more confused whether I haven't really done it somewhere else or anything. So
okay.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of my.
That's fine.
Yeah. And
All right,
I
so
mean,
I'm going to use yours as a case study. I want all of us to pay attention because I know we all have this same challenge of, what's the difference between this section and this other section? Am I going to supply the same information, or how do I structure it? One thing I've come to learn about proposal writing is that the same content, the same response, you can present it in different ways. Because some of the questions in the form may look as if they're asking you the same thing over and over again, which is what it looks as if is happening here. But if we look at this section, project activities, under every section of a proposal, there would be a guideline to give you direction of the kind of information that the funder expects for that particular section. So now U.S. Embassy is asking you to describe the program activities and how they help achieve the objective. Before now, you have not really stated what your objective is or what the objectives are. The previous section is clear, concise, and well-supported statement of the problem to be addressed and why the proposed program is needed. And then here, we want to know the program activities and how they will help achieve the objectives. So we need to know what the objectives are here, because the objectives, like the mother, the head, or the body of the tree, and the activities are the branches. Without the body of the tree, you can't find branches. So like I was advising KG, begin this section by stating what your objective is. If your project has just one objective, your project may have two objectives depending on the kind of solutions you are trying to provide. So open the section by stating what your clear objective is. And Kofi, if you have watched the sessions for week 2, especially the first one where we used a project case study, the agricultural project that talked about food security, building, funding readiness capacity of smallholder farmers. You see the way we framed the objective. From the objective, you know exactly the change we're trying to bring to the community. You know the number of beneficiaries we want to support. You know where that project is going to be happening and the timeline. So it was a SMART objective. So you can begin this section by saying the OWIT program. Remember, I asked you, what does OWIT mean? What does this mean? I know you have to make sure there's no room for assumptions or someone asking questions again that we can't find the response to that in the proposal. So you can say the OWIT program seeks or is aimed at enhancing the funding readiness and business development capacity of female entrepreneurs in blah, blah, blah region of Ghana. 300 female entrepreneurs, 1,000 female entrepreneurs in so part of Ghana by January 2026. This project will maybe achieve the objective, or we intend to achieve this objective through 5 key activities highlighted below. And then what are the activities? You have already stated them here in bullet points. Organize financial management training to improve record keeping, organize capital fundraising. So from your project, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here where you said host market fairs, one of the ways I write about my activities is to have the activity's name or the label for that activity. So I may call this financial management workshops and then put a semicolon and explain what it means. That the financial management workshop is a 5-module or consists of 5 modules that are designed to help female entrepreneurs build or gain knowledge of critical financial management practices, systems that will help them maybe build structure in their business, be able to keep track of their inflows and outflows. So I will talk about what the activity is, what it will help them do, and maybe if you have the word limit, for instance, if they're saying this section is 500 words, you have space to really explain what you're trying to do. If it's just 100 words, you just have to go straight to the point to say financial management workshops, 2 days financial management workshops. Financial management workshops, you can say this is a 5-day training that will cover so and so topics or modules to help participants gain this, to achieve this. The second one, you said organized capital raising training. What is it going to be? Is it a capital raising accelerator? There is a name for that workshop. Then go ahead to say 5 days capital raising training. This particular module or this training would consist of helping participants gain knowledge of the different channels and strategy to raise capital for their businesses, which involves learning how to develop business plans, funding proposals, engaging with microfinance institutions, all the blah, 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 blah. And then the fourth activity here are market fairs and exhibitions. This will provide more awareness and visibility for female entrepreneurs and create linkages to markets in order for them to create new business opportunities, have more revenue or create more demand for their services or your products, blah, blah, blah. Organize a pitch competition, just the way I have explained. And one of the things you want to do is to ensure that the activities are arranged in a logical flow. Not that the first activity you're putting is a pitch competition, then the last one is training. Which one comes first, logically, in order to solve the problem? So that's what you explain here. We just want to know the key activities you'll be implementing for, because it is the activities that feed into the budget. You have said you want $50,000. If we look at the activity section, it just has to justify your $50,000 request. And then beyond the activities, the next section, remember that this is particularly for US Embassy. This is their template. There's another template you would find that would not require you to have 2 separate sections that discusses activities and then the methods and design. It may be something else. They might just bring one crazy question that's different. But I chose this particular template because of how its complexity, so that it trains you to be able to approach any kind of template you will find as you are applying for grants. So for this other section, I don't know if you had signed in when I was having the conversation with KG, but I explained that for every intervention, program, project, any solution or product out there, there is a framework behind it. There is a method behind it. Beside these different activities you have put here, I want to do this training, do this training, do this training, do this event, do this exhibition, do this competition, and all that. You have listed the activities. If you look at these things closely, bearing in mind the different gaps you identified during your analysis, the gaps you identified faced by female entrepreneurs in the region where you want to work, you look at these activities, you will be able to identify 3 or 4 themes or components where you can, or buckets, where you can fit in some of these activities. From what you are doing here, one of the things you're doing is capacity building or business skills development. That's one of the themes that we can identify from here. The other thing is investor readiness. And then we can also find access to markets. So these are the three components or the three parts of the method that I've been able to identify from your analysis, from the description of your activities. Beyond all of the activities, everything, there is a logical method, model underneath it, underpinning your solution. So from here, we can find capacity building, investor readiness, access to markets. So what are you doing under capacity building or skills development? So we can say skills development, investor readiness, access to markets, or access to markets and opportunities. So these are the three parts of your solution or whatever intervention that you have designed. So while explaining it, then you begin to discuss. The first component of our framework, or the critical component of our intervention framework, is capacity building, which involves providing training, access to training for women entrepreneurs to build so and so skills that are needed for them to be able to grow their businesses profitably and sustainably. In addition, a second critical component of our solution is the investor readiness part, where we support female entrepreneurs to be able to build the systems that enables them have access or enhances their access to capital, ensuring that they have the capacity to develop business plans. Their organizations have the systems that meet the eligibility criteria of investors, of financial institutions, so that they're able to access loans or grants to fund their businesses, to fund their operations. That's the second part of your method. And then the third part of your method is access to markets. Then you begin to explain, according to the word limit that's available to you. You can say one of the challenges that we have identified facing female entrepreneurs is the limited capacity or limited access to markets and business opportunities. So this intervention intends to bridge that gap by hosting exhibitions and fairs that brings buyers, industry leaders, or potential customers to create more visibilities for these entrepreneurs, their products, their services, and then business opportunities, blah, 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 blah. So these are the three parts of your own framework. So you have skills development, investor readiness, or funding readiness, and then access to markets. And then you discuss these three under this section. So this is how these three will enable these women entrepreneurs have the capacity to grow their businesses or access funding in order for them to grow their business. Does this help, Kofi?
Yeah, Coach. I think it's much clearer than before.
Okay, all right. So that's how sometimes you will not find a template that requires you to explain that, but it kind of brings more clarity and credibility to what you're doing, to say, okay, this is the system, how this is our solution framework, and under each component of our framework, these are the activities that we intend to implement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is also relevant. You talked about outputs, outcomes here.
Yeah, I think so. When you look at rather where the program design, method and design, I think that's where I actually put my what is it called?
Objective. I can see it here.
Yeah.
Objective is here. All right. So you want to also have your objective up there.
Yeah.
And just try to weave in what I have just talked about. These are the three parts, or the intervention sits on three critical components, which is this. You just need to understand, okay, what's the simplified? If I say represent your project in a diagrammatic format, or the conceptual framework, or an infographic. This entire proposal, you can actually present it in one picture. So it is this method that you will put in that picture. Access to training. For some of the big organizations you admire, you will see that they have this. when they're talking about maybe their theory of change or their strategy. You see, our strategy is mentorship, business funding, linkages to market. It's just the method. And then they have a range of activities that they implement in order to achieve that. Okay. So I want us to figure out what our own method is. For me, it is access to training resources, proposal development and review, funder engagement. That's my own method behind Grantwriting Mastery. All right. So I want you all to figure out what's the strategy, what's the model, what's the method behind your project, and how does it work to solve the problem of your participants. So that means in the discussion, you must also link it back to the gaps you have identified. One of the challenges facing women entrepreneurs is the limited capacity to attract capital. This is because there are knowledge gaps and all of that. And then our skills development component of our project will bridge this gap by providing training, this, that. So you must tell a complete story that answers the question of the funder. And the question is asking you, how would your project work to solve the problem? What is the method? What is the design? Okay. So I stop share now.
So when just my last point. So is this still necessary to bring the, in terms of because they said describe how the program is expected to work to solve the stated problem and achieve the goal, right?
Yeah.
And I think somewhere down there I was equally stating the outputs
And the outcomes. Yeah. So you can actually bring that in as you're discussing it. You can actually bring that in this section. So in the short term, it is anticipated that 500 women-led businesses would receive financial management training. Okay, so you can put all the training together in one output.
Okay.
And then 50 businesses to be enrolled in 1 month mentoring to receive business. So what would be happening in this mentoring?
Okay, so what I was thinking was that, you know, when you had the discussion with the association, so they are all business, established businesses at various stages, right?
Okay.
Currently, what they've been doing, the reason why I brought in the coaching is just like when there's a new member, one of the things that they are doing now is like when you are a new member, and let's say the challenges that you present, I mean, as part of the onboarding, you'd want to say, why are you joining, in terms of, what do you seek to gain from the association. A lot of the women would come up with their deficiencies. So what they do is that then they sort of assign you like a, like a coach, a peer coach, sort of.
Okay.
Like your mentor.
Okay.
Just to be able to help you by their own experience, tell you the things that, those are the people you would consult, handheld you, teach you about the things that the organization is, the association is about, so that you can develop through. And as part of it, you also learn from the person, whatever the person is doing better that you are not, right? But in between that, when I had a discussion with them, in between that, I realized that some of them equally need capacity themselves. They lack certain capacity to be able to, provide adequate mentoring to these people. So that was the idea, that in terms of that, then possibly I would tap into my network and find people who will be willing to help them in various parts of improving their business. So in terms of market access, if it has to be, for example, if there's opportunity for the person to, use digital marketing to improve, then I'll find someone within my network who is a digital marketer, right? Okay. Then to possibly help the person in terms of the coaching. But then from the way I was looking at it, I couldn't have really structured it in such a way that all 500 people are going to benefit from that.
Yeah.
So that was when it was like, then the pitch section will come after all 500 have received the same what is it called, capacity building in terms of the financial management, how to develop a proposal by using maybe a simple framework like business model, analysis and all those things.
Yeah.
So
I have a question.
Right,
so
okay.
All 500 female entrepreneurs will receive $1,000?
No. So when you look at it, it's the 50. So in order to, improve their participation and their commitment, that is why I sought to introduce the pitch session as, okay, once you go through the capacity training, you are to put it into practice, and on the session, maybe after the session, there will be like a week or 2 off for you to go and work and all those things. So then the pitch section would happen. So I mean, if you tender in your proposal, it will be reviewed, screened, the best one will be selected, then there will be a pitch section for them to come and defend it. Then in between, then the 50 will be selected. So the 50, after they have gone through the mentoring, the 1 month mentoring, and they are successfully pass out of the mentoring, then they get the $1,000 to solve, I mean, in between the mentoring and everything, where then there will be needs assessment to know where the $1,000, when it's applicable, would generate the best value for the company, right? So that was really the idea that I pitched to them, and I think they were happy with it, and I was just trying to see how I put all of it together.
Okay. So what I need you to do is to really put the ideas down in the relevant sections of the proposal, to be very clear, ensure that there's no confusion. For these, your outputs, I am still trying to figure out the relevance of that 1 month mentoring, because you're already providing training. You're already providing financial management training. You're providing capacity building training. So the mentoring for 1 month, I would recommend that it could be like 3 months. It could be like 3 months, so that they can actually know the indices that they want to track over that timeline. Why do they need a mentor? Is it because they want to improve their sales revenue, or they want to be able to improve their capacity to access maybe business funding opportunities? So their mentor is someone that have been able to attract grants, and then they need time to be able to learn, go after these opportunities, and even receive feedback. So pairing a cohort or a group with a mentor who is a member of the association, I would just recommend it for an extended period of time, so that you can really evaluate the progress they are making, except maybe there's a specific framework that you guys have worked with and it's been working under that 1 month mentoring window. And also, business clinics to be organized to create platform for network. Let's go back to your activity to see if it's there. It's not here. You cannot have an output where the activity is non-existent.
Oh, it's there. It's there in the activity. Activity 3.
Oh, named differently, business and financial sector clinics and seminars. Okay, to enable industry players, especially financial institutions, to share ideas with businesses to understand their needs and how the. Okay, it's clearer now. And then market fairs to be organized each year, 2 business clinics to be organized to create platform for networking, networking and stakeholder engagement. And 50 businesses to be enrolled in a month mentoring program to receive business coaching and grant, 500 to receive. Okay, so that's fine. Just do the adjustments that we've talked about. Ensure that it's clear for the activities. You have the theme for the activity and you explain what it is. Have the theme and then explain what it is. It's easier for someone to read and really understand what you're going to do. Ensure that also when you're discussing the activities, put the specifics. So the training, is it going to hold for 5 days? Is it going to hold for 3 days? And then what's the target number of participants? So host 2 days financial management training. This training will cover these specific modules that will help 500 women learn this. So let those figures also come in as you are discussing the activities, because I know that that's something that has helped my proposal writing over the years. And what else? Talking about the methods and design, yes, it's a good thing that you brought out the outputs. Just ensure that the outputs are not you're not repeating the activities verbatim. You can actually compress all of the trainings under one output to say 500 women would receive, or 500 women receive access to trainings on this. So one output can cover your training on your financial management, your capital raising and everything. So we just know that this is what's happening on the training. And the second one, you can bring another output that talks of the mentorship or the linkages with stakeholders. Just ensure that your outputs are not just exactly the activities that you have defined. I hope I'm not confusing you.
No, it's quite clear.
I would actually recommend that you even come from the angle of the methods that we have talked about. So if, for instance, your method is access to training, investor readiness or funding readiness, and then access to markets, limit the outputs to these 3 areas to say that 500 women receive access to this, that explains everything about the trainings and capacity building that you're going to access. And then the capital, is there anything you're doing around helping them access capital? You talked about business planning somewhere in the proposal. The mentorship, what is the promise or the big outcome that the mentorship is going to deliver? Are they doing mentorship so that they will be able to raise capital? So you're pairing them with mentors, PM mentors that have been able to achieve this result, so it could be faster for them. So you may want to think through again to say, okay, what's really the essence of this mentorship? Because I don't want you bringing in the proposal talking about they're pairing them to mentors so that they will know what the association is about. No funder is going to give you money to do that. The mentorship should not be about them understanding the association, because you are proposing that this association brings together female entrepreneurs across Ghana or across a region. And then these are the challenges that have been identified, and they want to support these entrepreneurs to do this. So you can't be asking a donor to give you money for your target audience to understand the focus of the network. No. It has to be focused on an outcome that helps them become better, more profitable, and more sustainable business owners that can then contribute to the economic growth of the country or of the region. So just spend a little more time to think through again and ensure that we are not bringing in activities that do not really contribute to a clear outcome.
All right.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
So, Fumi, you asked a question about, you asked me to explain the, what again? You explain the activities section and then the methods, the program methods and design. So is it clearer now?
Yes.
Okay, do you have follow-up questions?
Well, not now until I'm able to apply it myself.
Okay, so looking at my comments yesterday, the analysis looks good because you brought out elements of school dropout rates, school completion rates, and all of that. But when you were discussing the activities and the solution, we could not really see how this, sorry, excuse me. We couldn't really see how this early career development would actually contribute to school completion rates. You may have had it in your mind, but I didn't see it in the paper.
Okay, so what I'm trying to explain is that so kids are dropping out from JSS 3. So when they finish JSS 3, they leave. Meanwhile, from my discussion, like when I discussed with one of the Teach for Nigeria fellows, he said government is interested in them completing senior secondary, you know. And I also saw an article of an article about what the Commissioner for Budget and Planning in Lagos State was saying, what the Commissioner for Education also was saying, and how they are trying to, okay, so they're experimenting with comprehensive secondary school, and they're saying that maybe one of the reasons why children are dropping out is that they're not so inclined to the academics. So in a comprehensive secondary school, some kids could continue with the academic route, while some kids could do like vocational stuff. But then it would be, they would be recognized, and it wouldn't just be just go to one place, go and do an apprenticeship, and maybe they don't finish or something. But if the school system is able to if the school system is able to validate them, then they would continue in the school system. So, but I mean, they don't have that many comprehensive schools yet. But my argument is that if you're actually being intentional with career guidance, then the kids go into, if eventually, so there are three options, or let me say there are two options. It's either they go into senior secondary school or they go to technical college. Now, technical college, senior secondary school, they're actually at the same level.
Okay.
Technical college apparently is even more difficult because they'll be doing their usual subjects and then a trade subject, a vocational subject, and it's more like, it's a bit more technical than just doing vocational training. So, but then their certificates are actually the same level with senior secondary school. So with the NAPTEB, whatever certificate, they can also do JAM and go to uni with that. Now, if the children are guided on what to do, and you teach them the career development, teach them, okay, how they make those choices. Then you show them how these subjects are relevant to the world of work. I feel it will give them more motivation to study and more motivation to stay the course. So when they choose the right,
you're bringing very strong points here in this meeting. Let it show in the paper. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well enough.
When we talk, you know what you want to do. put it in the paper. That's my own. Because it is the paper that will get to the funder. You will not be there to explain and bring the arguments. It is a paper that would present your thoughts and ideas to them. So just pull it from your head, put it on the paper, so that when I read it, if you did not align it, I'll tell you, okay, put here, there. But I can't come into your mind.
Okay.
You are now explaining
but I thought I put it there. I thought I put it there.
I did not see.
So, like,
let me use if I can project your paper. I hope I've opened it. So see, there's no room for assumption here. You just have to discuss what you want to do in the document and why you are doing it. Now you have brought a very strong argument that, yep, children are dropping off school. One of the reasons why they are dropping off school is maybe because they have not seen the relevance of what they are doing to their future direction or to their future career paths. One is they don't even know, maybe there's even a lack of complete awareness of what they want to do with their lives. And so they are vulnerable to being radicalized. They are vulnerable to being recruited into gangs and criminal activities. And so you are bridging that. These arguments should be on paper. Why do you have a second and a third application form? Which one did I open yesterday?
Second. It should be second. I just created a third draft so that I don't.
Okay, so I think I made a comment here.
And then,
yeah, this one is not. This one is not relevant. We're not trying to teach the reviewer what an intentional or an unintentional career development is. You're wasting space that you could have brought serious argument. So you remove that part.
Yeah, so it's just that the review was saying that, look, generally people don't look at career development in childhood.
The important part of that review ended here. So I left it there. It's a career development has traditionally received it. It's okay. The relevant part ended there. So this one, you said they go a step further. That chunk is not relevant. They go a step further to differentiate between this. Remember that your problem analysis is not a literature review. So be careful not to sound like an academic piece of work. The citations you're bringing in, the references you're bringing in, is just to back up your argument about the problem. It's not the core of the content that you should be bringing in. You have said something that in communities or in secondary schools within this community or within this LGA or in this state, there's this, for instance, there's a 70% dropout rate, or there's just 25% school completion rate, senior secondary school completion rate. And this is as a result of a lack of this, inadequate this, low awareness that. And then you can now bring in UNICEF report of so and so identified, blah, blah, blah. You're supporting that statement you have made so that you do not, to help you show the funder that this is not an assumption or this is not a speculation that I came up with. We found this, we observed this, and even this particular organization supports our position shown in their research or in their publication. This is what they stated. This is what UNICEF stated. This is what Teach for Nigeria stated through the research that they did. So the Teach for Nigeria is not the core of the content, it's supporting what you have primarily identified as a problem within this population you are working with. So that being said, one of the things I also told you is that 1,000 words is too long. You may want to download this version, keep it somewhere because maybe there's content here you want to use another time. But target an average of 500 words. So one of the things I said here is that you need to link this discussion back to the problem you highlighted at the beginning of your analysis, where you mentioned high school dropout rate. You opened the analysis talking about school dropout rates. Only 29% of students graduate from secondary school. And then all of the things you have said is career, career, career. You have not linked it back to it being a root cause of the school dropout rate.
Okay, so, where I tried to link that, right? I said, while there are various reasons for this dropout rate, our focus is on the inadequate provision of career development in schools. So I thought that was where I made that link.
Yes, you made
and
it
then
there.
I brought
But
in
as you are
the
discussing here, okay, see me, I have read it and I got lost thinking that you have not linked it back again. That's because I didn't see it again in the analysis. So you must always refer back to, because remember the core of the problem because that's what you can measure. The dropout rate is what you can measure. Your children are able to stay back in school, confidently complete school with the awareness and with the knowledge of that, oh, this is the career path that I want to take. Without influence from teachers and parents. I'm going to stay in school complete. This is what I'm working towards. So I'm choosing subjects from an informed perspective. So I have a reason to complete school because I want to be this. I want to pursue this career. So it's a reason for me to stay in school. So you see, you are anchoring your career education to school completion.
Yeah.
You are anchoring it back to school completion. So that anchor must always pop up from one paragraph to the other. You mentioned it at the beginning, and then I read almost 1,000 words of analysis, and I forgot that the anchor was even school dropout rate.
Okay.
So you must always remind whoever is reviewing that in all, we want to ensure that children stay in school, finish senior secondary with clarity of a career path that they're going to pursue so they can have meaningful adulthood and contribute economically to the society. So don't throw away the anchor as you are going on. Don't throw away the anchor, because you know your own case is a special one. Your own is special. So you have found an anchor that is good, which is school completion rate. And then your own method is that in order for children to stay in school, you want to give them that awareness and knowledge about career early in life. And so they have more reason to stay in school. You're helping them stay in school because you've been able to help them identify their strengths, to know that, oh, this person is very good with design. This person can be a good architect. So don't drop out of school to go and be using carton to design houses. Stay and learn the subject like introductory technology and the others. You help them make their subject choices, and they know that I'm in school because I want to become this. I need this knowledge to be able to even access opportunities that can really help me pursue this my dream. Even if the person wants to become a musician, you have to learn the arts. So it is your own strategy to helping children stay in school is to help them find their career paths early, make better career choices, and then they are more motivated to go through that phase of education. It must reflect in your discussion in the paper. Nobody's going to come to your mind to try to understand these things. It has to show explicitly in the proposal. Okay?
Yeah.
Well done. And so who else is ready? What challenges have you experienced working through those sections, and then so that we can help you get a direction and all of that. So we are way behind schedule. So this third week we're supposed to be talking about you working on monitoring, evaluation, sustainability strategy. but that is not happening right now. So I really want us to, try to cover up those gaps, because we only have 2 coaching clinic sessions left, next week, Saturday, and then the 2nd of September. So I don't want anybody to be left behind. So put it on paper, put your ideas there. And when we give reviews, try to rework it, so you have a meaningful content to use by the time you're submitting your applications directly to funders. All right. So Esther, what can we help you with? Esther, can you hear me?
Okay, how are you in class?
Yeah, I'm good.
I've been enrolled, but I think what I'll do is share what I've worked on with you next week, early next week.
All right, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Fumi, your hands are up again, or is it the old hand?
No, it's just the new hand. It's just one more question.
Just put your hand down first. Let me.
No, it's not a long question. Not a long question. It's not a long
question.
Yes, it's not a long one. I just wanted to ask that, is it possible that funders, because I wrote there it's a 3-year project, funders
please bring it down to, yes, I think I missed that. I must have missed that while typing in my comments. Maximum that I have seen that for grants is 2 years, 24 months. Rarely do I see 36 months, which is, have I seen 36 months? 2 years is more manageable for funders. So usually between 1 year, 6 months, or 2 years. And then sometimes after the 2 year, light is too bright in my eyes. After 2 years, if you have good relationship with your funder, and then if your reports, that's why I always think reporting in the academy, for those of you that are there. If your reports are very robust, and then you are still saying that, okay, these recommendations, these are the things we also need to do in addition, you'll be able to get another phase of the project approved. So a funder might tell you, okay, well, making this grant available. So let me share a personal experience. So last year, one of my clients, I think that was around May last year, one of my clients sent me a call for proposal from Oxfam to help them apply for. It was 25,000 euros. And then they had done projects with Oxfam before. And so when I created the project based on what the CEO, based on her idea, what she wanted to achieve. And then she was able to have a conversation with the funder. And then the funder told her that the first phase of the project they did, I think it was about 3 years gap. They said the first phase of the project, the reports they received showed that the project was really doing well. And they would like her to continue to build on the successes of that old project in the same community. And so I had to do another proposal again that expands the first project, brought in new outcomes. So I came from the narrative that from that project, we identified new capability gaps. And then this new project was going to, lean on the lessons learned from the first phase of the project, sustain those outcomes, scale up those outcomes. And then they approved it for 40,000 euros. I also recommended that, no, since there was another opportunity for 50,000 euros, let's put the application for that. And then after back and forth, they approved the project for 40,000 euros, and they are midway in implementation. So if you do your project well, you do reports well, and the funder is able to see the benefits of what you're doing, they may even approach you to say, roll over for another 2 years or for another 1 year. But the most important thing is to get your foot in the door to say, okay, we even have a project that is funded by a grant to begin with. All right. So that 36 months, make it 2 years, 24 months. There are some applications, it has to be 12 months, so you do a 12-month version. So depending on any call you are responding to, you would need to tweak different components of your project. That to reduce the number, increase the number, reduce the budget, increase the budget, change locations, and all of that. But the focus of this grant writing mastery is for you to have your concept properly framed that you can use to begin to engage with those opportunities. Okay, so Grace. So Esther, please ensure that your document gets to me before Friday, because I do reviews on Friday. And then you have a lot of catching up to do. Just ensure that I get it at least so I can review it by Friday.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So Grace, I made a comment. I don't know if you've opened your document, and then to see, I told you to open the drive so that you can see the comment. The analysis you did, you actually put it in the wrong section. So I had to cut it and paste it in the correct section. You brought some really very good points in there. So look at my comments and then make those corrections and work on the other sections. I need to see what your project activities and objectives are, and also your methods and the design. So you need to work on those areas. But I would like to know if you have questions that you need help with that's going to facilitate your proposal development. So when you're ready, Grace, you can respond. Olamide, I have not received your document. So have you gone through the workshops, and do you have questions that you need help with?
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, good evening, Coach.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I've gone through I think 2 of the videos, and then
Okay.
I learned that I actually, like you were saying, I think that was a direct shot at me. I've only been working on activities. I haven't really been able to define a project. But the moment I just got there, I just decided to just put a pause and then rejig what I think I wanted to do, you know. I think I've only been very emotionally attached to the change I want to implement, that I haven't really settled in to decongest or deconstruct it to something that is viable, that somebody else who is not as emotionally invested in what I intend to achieve, right, would be able to see very clearly from. So I had to just take a pause and then start to, you know, rewrite before I now start to implement AI in helping me beef up and all of that. So I'm trying to rework what exactly I want to do. So I'll be able to do that this week, and then I'll send my document over to you.
Okay. Reminder, there's no extension. No. There are some people here, they know themselves that extended. there's no extension into September cohort, because you all know the changes that have happened to September cohort. September is $297. So that conversation will not even happen. Everybody needs to finish by your last session, which is September 2nd. So remember that you don't have forever. There's a timeline where it's going to end. And there's something you mentioned, Olamide, that I find really very fascinating, where you said you need to deconstruct what you're doing so that someone who is not as emotionally invested as you are can make sense of what you're doing. So that's one of the things I found is a problem in this our social impact space, because you set up a non-profit because you are passionate about a problem, or you're passionate about a specific population. You are emotionally attached, heavily emotionally invested in your idea, and you are blind to the loopholes in that idea. You spend a lot of money in communities implementing projects, and then you cannot even say this is what is changing in that community. All of the things that you are telling people you're doing is, we have trained 1,000 women. We distributed, we gave 1,000 women $500. You can't even tell us clearly how that grant you gave to these women has really changed their economic circumstances. That's because your emotional investment has blinded you to the reality or the practicality of what you're doing. So I'm very happy that you realize that, oh this passion has been pushing me too much. Let me come back to reality and then look at what we're doing again. So I would expect to see in that document unfailingly, because my next review is on Friday. So to see that you have put up your problem analysis, what the gap is for the particular population, a clear target population. No, don't give us general children across Nigeria. You're not going to be implementing the project across the 36 states of Nigeria. There's a specific place where you're going to be engaging with these people. You have no business executing a project if you don't know that target population in and out, because it's going to show in your proposal document that you don't really know this population. You lack audience clarity. So in that analysis, we want to see clearly the target population you're working with, the core problem you are going to be addressing, how this population are being influenced and affected by the problem, the root causes. So you weave it in a narrative of 500 words in that section. When you finish your analysis, let's see how you're going to solve these problems. And using the model that was taught in the masterclass, in the workshop, those training videos you're watching, model the project like that. So for this template, we want to see the activity, you want to see the objective, we want to see the activities. We also want to see the framework you're working with, or the method. This project, what method is this project using? Is it a 3-part method? Is it a 3-step framework? Is it a 4-part method? Does it have 3 components? Like the case study we used with Kofi's project. So I was looking at the problem analysis and all that. I was able to identify like 3 core themes around skills development, funding readiness, and access to market. That's the method. And then the activities you want to implement are all working in line with this different component path of your method. Because everything we're doing, there is a design behind, there's a system behind it. So what is that system? How many parts does the system have? What are the key things? That you can even use an infographic, a diagram to illustrate that this is the framework we're working with. All right. And then, so I would, to help you more, we need to see that write-up. Bring it from your mind and put it on paper, and let's have a look. All right. So Grace, are you ready to respond to us now?
All right. Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
I'll work on that. I'll share. Cheers.
All right. Grace Aid Foundation. Grace Aid Foundation, can you hear me? All right. Anu, welcome.
Good evening, Coach.
Good evening. How have you been?
I've been fine now.
All right. Are there new updates to your document?
Well, not exactly, but I'm hopeful that this week I'll be able to push something forward. I just needed to just get on this class first to get back, you know.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Madam Grace, I don't know if it's your network. So let me just see if I can retrieve my presentation. So tomorrow I'm having the onboarding workshop for September cohort. Just to explain to us more what I mean by this design and methods, I'll try to retrieve one of the slides and present to you all to help you deepen your understanding. Okay, so yeah, this is it. Share screen. So kindly confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So for me, if we take Grantwriting Mastery as a project, there are different key activities. I have an objective. I said that I want to build the capacity of nonprofit leaders to be able to attract grant funding and achieve financial sustainability for their nonprofit intervention across Africa. And then this is my framework. Some of you know the activities we do. So you know that we give you access to workshops, implementation templates. What else? You have weekly group trainings or weekly group coaching sessions. And then we have proposal reviews. You have proposal development as one of the activities. And also, what are the activities? You had a kickoff meeting so that you would get to interact with other nonprofit leaders and learn from what you're doing. There are all the range of activities that we do within the 6 weeks period, because we include the kickoff meeting, and then the 5 weeks process is actually a 6 weeks program. So let's assume that this is a project. We've been able to define the objective, and then we have like 5 activities we're doing. Those are just activities. So what is the method or the model, the solution framework behind Grantwriting Mastery? So when I looked at the challenges faced by nonprofit founders, we looked at the challenges behind nonprofit founders. We looked at how I've been engaging with this population in the last 3 years, what has worked, the lessons learned, and I've been able to identify that this is the model, or this is the design behind Grantwriting Mastery. So we have training resources, or I may decide to rephrase that and say maybe access to training or capacity development. And then there's the proposal development and review. And then there's the funder engagement component. So a lot of people would end at the training resources. So you buy an online course, you watch it, and you go away. Or the online course comes with and what's it called, a Telegram group. So you're in a Telegram community, people are asking questions, and it stays that way. That's their own framework. But this particular framework, you have access to the training resources component. What are we doing there? So we have a set of activities. You get access to the proposal writing toolkits, which is like an information and communication material, all the training workshops that we could have done. And then these include the training workshops, you have the ebooks, the checklist, and all of that to help you provide knowledge, awareness, and information to you. And so there is another component, which is the proposal development and review, that entails participants working on different sections of their proposals on a week-to-week basis. Another activity in the project is the weekly expert reviews and advisory. So as participants work on their proposals, I read these proposals and provide advice in the document to say how best to approach each of the sections. And also we have these live group clinic sessions to provide expert and peer-to-peer coaching. So last week, one of the things we did last week was that Kofi was also supporting, other people were giving advice to say, I think you should do it this way. I think you can do it that way. That's peer-to-peer coaching. And also another component of this framework, which is the funder engagement, that will be live for the September cohort. So they're going to get access to curated funding opportunities. So for someone's project like Kofi, one of the activities that you would do may be to do a research and to have a catalog of opportunities for these entrepreneurs. Okay, who are the microfinance banks or financial institutions that are providing credit facilities to female-led businesses? You curate that information and give them access to it. So it will be part of the funding readiness component of your method. So for under our funder engagement, they have access to curated funding opportunities. They also get access to a grant opportunity portal for 1 year that you can go in, search for, identify grants, search for grants at any time and apply for. And also technical support on application submission to funders. So for our funder engagement component, this is how we are approaching it. These are the set of activities we do. For our proposal development and review, these are the set of activities we're doing. For our training component, these are the set of activities that we're doing. So I hope this gives you more understanding of what you're supposed to do under that methods and design. So if you can see from this, my slide now, you understand how this program, or how this, if we look at it as a project, Grantwriting Mastery, the different set of activities, how these activities would work together to help nonprofit founders build the capacity to access grant funding for their organization. So this is what you should think like when you are writing that component. So you must understand what your model is. That's why I said many nonprofit founders are stuck with this activity thing. Look at the activities. Activities are good. It is activity that you would implement in the field. But look at those sets of activities and then try to compress and distill the model that those activities will be working with. And have this thing. So I can say my outputs are 3. 550 nonprofit leaders receive access to training and toolkits and templates that help them implement learning. 500, why am I always saying 500? 50 nonprofit founders receive technical support for proposal development and enhancing quality of applications to funders. And then 50 nonprofit founders receive access to grant information and engagement with grant funders through their funding circles and application processes. That's for if this was a project. So I just wanted to show you guys that whatever project you have, you can actually develop your strategy in one slide like this. Because there's some, if you're doing a pitch deck, for instance, if the opportunity you're applying for is not a full-blown proposal like this one you're working on, you just say, we need a pitch deck of 8 slides. How are you going to do it? A pitch deck of 8 or 10 slides. Your entire project will be presented in this slide to say this is the solution to the problem. Okay, so other follow-up questions that I can help you all with before we all go and relax for the night.
I have one question.
All right, go ahead. Let me look at the chat area to see what's going on there.
Okay, so I'm still thinking in my head, because I'm hearing you say that this is not like an academic research work. So I was wondering, what's the difference between the title? Because sometimes I'm trying to get it smart, and then it's also sounding like an objective.
Objective.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. So just look at it this way. Your title is a shortened version of your objective. KG?
Yeah, I hear you.
So the title is a shortened version. So in your title, we don't want to see the 500 or the 100 people you're supporting and the percentages of maybe at least 500 women will be able to make an increase in revenue of 50%, blah, blah, blah. Those specifics would not come into the title. So the title can be between 7 to 10 words. I want to try to recall one of the projects. I always reference that project talking about it because that was the last official project I worked on before coming into consulting. I don't know where can I retrieve it? I remember the project title is Deepening Peace in the Niger Delta. So that's about 5 words. Deepening peace in the Niger Delta. Okay, Niger Delta 2 was 6 words. Deepening peace in the Niger Delta. It does not give you the entirety of what we're trying to do, but on the surface, you know what we want to achieve. We want to achieve peace in the Niger Delta. We want to deepen the peace existing in the Niger Delta. But one of the project objectives is to amplify the voices of women and youth, as well as other vulnerable groups in decision-making that affects the stability of their community. I paraphrased it. I was thinking I could be able to get, so 1 minute, let me see if I can retrieve the exact objective for this project so it can help us. Let's see, that project was for 1.6 million.
I think it's part of the document you sent in the pack.
Okay, let me use my phone to access it. Sent. Where are you? Proposal toolkit. Funny thing, does this happen to you? When you're looking for something, you will not find it. And when you don't need it, it will be staring you in the face. I may need to get the closest alternative.
So when you go to the grant proposal toolkit,
yeah,
you've titled it sample funded proposal.
Okay, it's not even that one. This sample funded proposal was my first grant in 2018. So I was referring to a project that was executed 2019 and 2020. So, but we can also use this. The title of the project here, this was for 98,000 pounds. The one I was looking for is for 1.6 million euros. So this project title approved by UK-Aid is Strengthening Multi-Stakeholder Capacity for Prevention of Identity-Based Violence. The funny thing is we didn't even put the location in the title for this particular one, but at least it's a title, is not the objective. The title should let us know what is going to happen. But if we go down to the objective, the objective of this project is to enhance multi-stakeholder capacity for early warning and response that ensures prevention of violent conflicts in local and conscientious local government of, this is Benue. And total, how is it away and total what? LGAs of, so it was a project that was in Benue and Nasarawa State, Nigeria. So this is a project objective that was approved, but this was in 2018, 2019. Now, you know, the sector is always evolving. So now your objective should even have more detail by showing us the year and then your scope. We would like to see those numbers in your objective. So if we look at this proposal in detail, you will see where we talked about more specifics of the stakeholders. Look at the log frame. You see the stakeholders we wanted to reach, number of days all those trainings were going to happen, and then the timeline. But the idea is, because your title, you will put your title in communication materials, flyers, banners, t-shirts. So it should not be too long, it should not be too short. So all those fancy names of Project Leap, Project Fly, and all of that, Project Leap should be like an abbreviation of the title, an acronym. So for us, when we're doing the deepening piece in the Niger Delta, we were just calling it deepened. At the time, even they told us from our head office because we started using it in the report, and then they wrote us from Brussels that the project is not deepened, it is deepening peace in the Niger Delta. And they wanted us to maintain that communication across board, whether reports, in communication materials, flyers, banners, t-shirts, face caps, everything. We have to maintain that title, deepening peace in the Nigeria. When someone sees project peace or project LEAP, we don't know what you're trying to do. But a 7-word sentence resolving one of the British Council projects that was between 2016, from 2016 to 2020, can't really remember, but the title, I cannot forget it, Resolving Violent Conflicts in Nigeria. That is the title. So when they print a banner, is there. Resolving Violent Conflicts in Nigeria project, funded by the British Council, invites you to stakeholder engagement for blah, 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 blah. So your title, take it that it's a shortened version of your objective. All right? Okay.
Yep.
So I'll still take a look at I don't want to miss any comments or question that you may have dropped in the chat. This is a problem for me. I have started something so I can see the loopholes. If not, I would have been stuck in it. Yeah, very okay. Okay, so please don't be stuck in analysis paralysis. So, especially Charles, that thing you're saying you are thinking and writing, do that thinking and writing in the paper, so that if you are thinking and miss, I can call you back and say, come back, face this other direction. All right. So well done to everyone for a job well done. You have 2 weeks left, exactly 14 days. And if you look at your proposal, you know the sections, there are still plenty. Before you do your executive summary, you write about your organization, you have sustainability strategy to do. That's the reality of a proposal you submit to a funder. Sustainability strategy is there. Monitoring and evaluation section is there. Your key personnel section is there. So if you slip on top of problem analysis, activities, and design, that's just 3 sections from 10 sections, I mean even 12 sections. So let's move on from this. It seems we're stuck here, but let's get past this. Okay, so try and just finish up. Let's move past here and get into the monitoring, evaluation, sustainability strategy. So that's what I'll be talking about in our next meeting. I will not be discussing activities and methods. I may just take a look in the document and give you the comment. I don't think I want to mention it in the live session. I want us to move forward, and I'm going to be focusing on monitoring and evaluation and sustainability strategy in the next coaching clinic for Saturday 27th. So please, for those of you that have been able to figure out your activities and all that, move forward, get on your monitoring and evaluation and sustainability strategy. Watch the master class. Please, I don't want to see indicator that looked like something that I did not teach. Please, the monitoring and evaluation section, I think the training is about 1 hour. Some of us will watch Netflix for 6 hours, we won't get tired. But when it comes to a training that will really help us move forward, it's as if there's something that is blowing us to go to sleep. Keep your eye, tape your eye like this and watch the training and work on the document, please. Work on the document. I want to see us making applications when we finish. Like, I'm so proud of people from July when they're sending me, I've submitted. Though just 4 of them out of the 24 of you, they are laughing. They know themselves that you are not carrying over to September. I know, agree. You must finish it this August and submit your proposals, okay? So well done, well done. My next review will be on Friday, so please paste it. You're writing 100 words a day. Like what helped me for my literature review when I was like, oh, everything was happening. I had to give myself targets that I was going to review 10 journal articles every day and summarize it. So for each journal article, I'll summarize after scanning. I had to scan like as if, and then whatever I had scanned through, I would summarize it in 100 words narrative. And so if I'm reviewing 10 a day, that's 1,000 words of literature review summaries every day. And in 3-4 days, I was able to write 4,500 word content. By the time I had finished my literature review and sent to my supervisor was saying that this is PhD work. Compress it to, I wrote about 8,000 for literature review. And then he asked me to compress it to 4,000. And then I'm resting first because I've done double what I'm supposed to have done. So you can actually pace yourself like that to say, okay, so for Monday, I will just write 100 words of content, Tuesday, 100. So by Thursday, I should have, the sections completed, whatever works for you. But just set yourself on a deadline. Your mind, your body will be conditioned to work like that. But if you don't plan yourself, you just, before you know it's Saturday again, nothing has happened. So tell yourself that on Monday, I will do all of the corrections, respond to all the comments in the document. Tuesday, I will do a rough sketch on my paper. I will define what this is. Wednesday, I'll transfer it into the document. Thursday, I'll read again to identify errors and work on it. So you're good. So set those milestones for yourself. If not, you will find yourself on Saturday, you've not done anything. So, but give yourself milestones. Write it in your book. I have notes, like everything I want to do. Write it with biro, ink. Don't type it on your notepad. Write it with ink. Monday, this is what I'm going to do. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and follow through. All right. So well done, everybody. Thank you all for the work you have done so far. I appreciate. I know it's not easy in the midst of other competing and also equally important things we have to do. It's not easy, but you see, the journey of a social innovator or a social entrepreneur is not easy. You've been called to the arena like a gladiator. So you must get up your swords and fight it out. So good night, everybody. The WhatsApp group is there. If you have questions, comments, don't hesitate to put it in the WhatsApp group and I will respond to it. Okay? All right, so well done, everybody. Good night.
Thank
All
you.
other comments, drop it
Thank
in the WhatsApp group, your classroom B. Okay, bye. Good night.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Good night.